caste? Kuldeep says, like you mentioned a few times in previous videos, Hinduism doesn't need any reform, but it needs to rejuvenate. How would you explain the casteism that was and still is so much deep rooted even today in the so called modern and progressive India? Om says, when did caste based oppression start in Bharat and what are the reasons it continued until now? The next question is, did the British remove the caste system and educate Indians by building schools? And Hitkesh Waghela says, why are the surnames of Rajputs and Dalits the same in Gujarat? A bunch of questions all related to caste. Okay, so let's begin. Let me share some literature with you all. Let me hide this and share my screen. Okay, just give me a minute. I need to make a few recommendations, reading recommendations and study recommendations. Where are we? This is a book recommendation. So I have stated in the past that the caste system is a Western invention. Many of you have been skeptical and you have said that this is all something I pulled out of my hat. It's not. So this is one book recommendation, The Western Foundations of the Caste System by Martin Farek, Judkin Jalki, etc., etc., etc. A good book. I would recommend this. And if you want a review of this book, an overview of this book, then I would suggest this. It is a book review by Soumya Dey on India Facts. Look it up on Google, find this article, read it. It demonstrates how the West, how the British essentially imposed this artificial construct called the caste system on India. Here is one more book recommendation. It is Castes of Mind, Colonialism and the Making of Modern India. It's by Nicholas Dirk. This is also an excellent book. So this also tells you how the British created this fake artificial caste system. And I would recommend one more article by a guest who has been on this podcast before, Dr. Subhash Kak. This is called The Idea of India, in which he also goes into how the West, especially the British, created all these artificial divisions in Indian society. So these are some recommendations. You can pause the video later when you're watching and check out these articles and books online. If you are serious about understanding this, I would recommend that you should actually read these articles and even study the books in detail. Otherwise, well, I can't force you to do that. But if you're serious in understanding all this, then you should actually spend the time, invest the time in studying this to understand how this country has been misled. Okay, so let me come back to this. So my point is, this is a British creation. We believe, because of our education system, etc., and because of our brainwashed previous generations, the past 2-3 generations, who are all thoroughly brainwashed. So we believe that the caste system is an ancient Indian evil. It is one of the forms of backwardness of Indian society. Our ancestors were evil. Hamare purvajon ne paap kiye hain, like somebody said once. So this is all nonsense. Okay, let me take up Hitesh Waghela's question. Why are the surnames of Rajputs and Dalits the same in Gujarat? Because they're the same people. They are the same people. There is no such thing as this fake caste. There have been divisions in society, Jati and Varna. Varna is occupation, Jati is your lineages. Like you have these haplogroups that we spoke about some time ago. India is home to thousands of Jatis, thousands of patrilineal and matrilineal lineages. And you have Varnas, which are these ancestral occupations. It is prevalent all over the world. If you look at British surnames, one of the most common surname is Smith. What is Smith? It is a metal worker. What is blacksmith? Blacksmith is a common British surname. A blacksmith is a metal worker. What is Thatcher? A Thatcher is somebody who thatches roofs. This is a medieval occupation. People still carry that surname. So these occupations have been passed on from generation to generation to generation. It stays within families. This is prevalent all over the world. If you look at every single British surname, English-speaking people's surname, you will find these ancestral occupations. These are Varnas. This is prevalent all over the world. It is not exclusive to India itself, right? Now, what about the Rajputs and the Dalits? So the Rajputs are have traditionally been the Kshatriyas, the warrior class, the aristocracy of the country. The Kshatriyas have been the aristocrats. The Brahmins have been the ones who uh, preserved the country's knowledge, the civilization's knowledge for thousands of years. So the entire society in India, even today, we revere knowledge. We 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 respect people who are knowledgeable, right? People who are learned, people who are scholarly, we worship them. Many of us actually worship such people. That is because of our inbuilt reverence for knowledge. It is built into our DNA. And naturally, the people who were the most learned for thousands of years were the people who passed it on from generation to generation, the Brahmins. But it was not exclusively for within a certain families. You could become a scholar on your own, as we know very well from our ancient universities. It was open to everybody. Even a Chinese person like Xuanzang was admitted into Nalanda University, the highest seat of learning in the known universe at the time. So that is what made him a Brahmin, because he was able to get admission there. Now, when it comes to Rajputs and Dalits, why are these names the same? It is because when the Turkic invasions and occupation of India happened in Gujarat, and among other Rajputs also, they gave three choices. It was not two choices, it was three choices: convert, die, or declare yourself a Shudra. So many Rajputs chose to die. They would not convert, they would not do anything like that. Many Rajputs converted. The entirety of the Pakistani army is Muslim Rajputs. Parvez Musharraf is a Muslim Rajput. What's his name? That other fellow, the previous chief of staff, he's a Rajput. They are all Muslim Rajputs. And they are proud of being Muslim Rajputs. They're proud of their Rajput lineage. So many Rajputs converted. And some Rajputs refused to convert, they refused to die, so they declared themselves Shudras, that we are no longer Rajputs, we will no longer fight. So these are the three conditions that the invaders imposed upon the ones who could fight and resist them. That's why, and some actually survived, some fought, some resisted, and some survived. So you have Hindu Rajputs, you have Muslim Rajputs, and you have the so-called Dalit Rajputs. They are the same people, the same ancestry, the same DNA. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So this is the truth about the caste system. I will definitely make a detailed video about this, a separate standalone video about this, because this is a complex topic. It needs to be unpacked and analyzed properly. But I have given you some book recommendations. I have given you a couple of articles to read. Do that if you're serious about understanding this.